week of the new immigration plan, according to the Biden administration, hundreds of Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans have applied, have been vetted, and approved to fly into the United States. And at the same time, an unprecedented number of Cuban arrivals have been automatically turned around, though for decades they've had unique rights as refugees from political persecution. Willy Allen is a veteran South Florida immigration attorney dealing with all of this firsthand. Willy, so nice to have you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Willy, this is a seismic change for Cuban migrants to be automatically expelled, and yet the Cuban Adjustment Act is still in effect. How does that work?
Well, look, in the last 15 months of December 2022, we had nearly 300,000 Cubans coming to the border that were allowed to come in either with a parole or 220A or some other kind of documentation, and that the road will allow them to get legalized in the United States. Right now, I look at the parole program as a great opportunity for nearly 130,000 Cubans to come in illegally to the United States. And why 130? If you divide the 30,000 paroles per month equally between the four countries, 7,500 Cubans will get it, 90,000 per year. We still have 20,000 family unification paroles available for Cuba and 20,000 Department of State visas where people come in as U.S. residents.
And how does that change from what we've seen over the years, people coming without any of that documentation and who have family here, who have sponsors here, and given the opportunity to stay? How does that change? What's the change in those numbers?
Well, I think there's going to be a reduction in numbers somehow because of the significant increase in people leaving Cuba in the last 2 years. Right now, Cuba, like Haiti, are pretty much failed countries. I don't know which one is in a worse situation. I would tell you that both are really dire situations for the people living there and from the government to everyday life. So what you have is that from Cuba, you've had a significant number of people leave, especially young people. You were talking about the school systems before. You do have some family groups coming into the border. You have had some young children come in by boat, but it's a significant migration now, and it's significantly expensive migration. When you leave from Cuba to Nicaragua to the Mexican border, people are being charged upwards of $20,000 per person. When you leave by boat, and I have to believe that most folks that touch ground by boat are being trafficked by human traffickers, are paying between $8,000 to $10,000 per person. So when you now have a program which is free, all you need to do is have a sponsor in the United States, and most Cubans have family members here who are able to be sponsors, or close family friends who are able to be sponsored, and it doesn't cost anything. And you're able to come in and have a family member look after you or help you out. When you come in with a parole, you can immediately apply for a work permit. Luckily for Cubans, which is different from Haitians, Venezuelans, and Nicaraguans, the Cuban Adjustment Act, like you just mentioned, continues to be in effect. So these 2-year paroles.
So let's just sort of talk about what that means. The Cuban Adjustment Act, part of it means that when a Cuban national is in the United States for 1 year and 1 day?
1 year and a day.
Then they are able to start the process to become a citizen.
A resident.
Resident, excuse me, yes, resident.
So what happens is you're in a better situation than the other three countries because it's unclear what's going to happen after 2 years with the paroles for Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Haiti. For my clients from those countries, I would probably apply for asylum. But for the Cubans, I can apply for adjustment of status. It's a great benefit. So when you look at it like that, for me, it is an opportunity for people to come in legally. And I support some type of legal migration in the United States. You cannot have 300,000 people come to the border from one country in 15 months without having some kind of difficulties.
Yeah.
So I support the legal migration, especially for Cubans as a benefit, because they will be able to adjust status after a year and a day.
Well, let me ask you this. Specifically, this is sort of framed from the southern border, and preventing people without documentation, without going through the legal process, are automatically expelled. Does this not, in a way, almost encourage people to come by sea, make that horrific, dangerous,
Well, that's
risky
a very
trip
good
by
question.
sea?
That's a very good question. Now, almost every rafter that I've represented since November, when they touch ground, they're issued a order of deportation, expedited order of removal, which eliminates their ability to ever adjust to the Cuban Adjustment Act, puts them in a situation where they immediately have to apply for asylum. And obtaining asylum in the United States is not an easy road for any country. I will probably tell you that maybe upwards of 70% of Cubans who have to apply for asylum are going to lose because they don't have the evidence for of persecution because of their political opinion, race, nationality, or part of a special social group. So when obtaining asylum in the United States is a very difficult road. So the people who touch ground right now, there's no dry foot, wet foot, so they would be in a very precarious situation. Now, through the Mexican border, they cannot return back everybody that seeks entry, and you still have several thousand Cubans being allowed every month. Isn't it ironic that Title 42, which this government has tried to eliminate, is the one being used now to return Haitians, Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, and Cubans?
Yeah, and that's almost begrudgingly. That's begrudgingly as the courts decide whether that stays or goes. But Willy Allen, we got to go, and I just wanted to thank you so much. We will absolutely keep in touch with you as this evolving process keeps going. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Have a great day.